Hello, I'm David Kerr, Professor of Cancer Medicine at the University of Oxford. I'd like to bring your attention to what I believe is an important editorial recently published in the New England Journal of Medicine. Its title, Reducing the Risk of Nuclear War, the Role of Health Professionals. Now, I grew up as a small boy in Glasgow during the 60s, at the height of the Cold War, in which an omnipresent threat was that of nuclear war, something that was extraordinary, but hovered continually in the background. More recently, though, in January of this year, the Science and Security Board of the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists moved the hands of the doomsday clock forward to 90 seconds before midnight. 90 seconds before midnight, reflecting the growing risk of nuclear war. Now, we understand some of the reasons for this in terms of the extraordinary continued proliferation of nuclear weapons, the fact that there's a land war being waged in Europe just now in which various threats have been made coming from the Russian High Command, and threats about the possibility of them deploying nuclear weapons. The consequences of this are genuinely unthinkable. Even a limited nuclear war involving only 250 of the estimated existing 13,000 nuclear weapons stored around the globe would kill 120 million people outright, cause massive global disruption, and the possibilities of widespread global famine, probably putting 2 billion people at risk. If there was a large-scale nuclear war between Russia and the United States, God forbid, that could kill 200 million people in the immediate near term. The possibility of leading to a nuclear winter with the possibility of the deaths of 5 or 6 billion people. Staggering figures. And a group has come together. This is the International Physicians for the Prevention of Nuclear War. And what they did in the 60s was to educate both sides, everybody who was involved in what was then a nuclear arms race, about the medical global consequences of nuclear war, and played an important part through that element of health diplomacy in reducing nuclear arms race, so trying to bring in a non-proliferation treaty. And for this work, which is foresighted and remarkable at its time, they were awarded, the group was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1985. So here we are now, 40 years later, almost, and with the hands in the doomsday clock ticking inexorably again towards midnight. And this is perhaps, I'll use a wrong term, I was going to say a call to arms. It's the opposite in some ways. But to say that we as a community of physicians need to be aware of this and need to do all that we can to support the group, the IPPNW, and anything that we can do to help support the international campaign that we are promoting to abolish nuclear weapons. We should do this. We know that the danger is great and growing. We would call on all nuclear armed states to eliminate their nuclear arsenals before they eliminate us. We know that the health community played a decisive element during the Cold War, and more recently were important proponents of the treaty and the prohibition of nuclear weapons. I think as a community, we must take up this challenge again and do all that we can to support in these uncertain times. It's extraordinary when we think about it. First, the steps that we would call on, perhaps the immediate steps, on the part of nuclear armed states and their allies. First, adopt a no first use policy. If nobody starts, then nobody needs to finish. Secondly, take their nuclear weapons off hair trigger alert. The fists which are being waved at Ukraine, the fists that are being waved across mainland Europe just now are genuinely terrifying. And third, let us demand or ask that unequivocally that all states involved in current conflicts pledge publicly, clearly, unequivocally that they will not use nuclear weapons in these conflicts. We're hearing the opposite just now, but we must demand these 3 immediate steps. And as a group of concerned physicians, how could we not be? We must help to support these pledges. Please have a look at the article in the New England Journal of Medicine. It's extraordinarily well written. It's, of course, timely that we're reminded of this. And perhaps, again, we can help re-educate the world so that we can step back from the doomsday hour. Thanks for listening, as always. Very interested to hear your own comments. Thank you.